Ladies and gentlemen,
Welcome to the TangentCast. This time I actually have Paul with me since he has recovered somewhat from his deadly disease.
yeah, pretty much.
You've been out of commission for over a week, right?
Yeah, so basically, because I did promise viewers I'd kind of let them know what the hell was going on with me.
Right.
So essentially what happened is that on the Friday, I was all okay. I went to the gym, came home, everything was coming up, Paul. And then pretty much about 8 o'clock, as you know because you were there, I was like, I've got a bit of a sore throat, that's weird.
Yeah, but you didn't really think much of it at first, and then all of a sudden the next day you were absolutely ravaged.
It was the 3 a.m. When I woke up at 3 a.m, I was being skull fucked, basically. My sinuses were completely blocked, and I had this migraine at 3 a.m, and I had nothing to help me as well. I had like no medication in, so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to have to deal with this, basically. And then it just got worse. Suffice to say that for about 2 days, the symptoms just got progressively worse and worse and worse, and obviously it's now Sunday, and you dumped around a whole bunch of like halls and Sudafed and God knows what else, literally posting them through my letterbox.
Yeah, I put him through his letterbox. I'm just like, there's a plague upon this house.
Basically. And I weighed myself on, I weighed myself Saturday.
Right.
And I dropped from 227 pounds to 211.
Oof. Just from laying around for like a week.
It was because I was eating like, normally as you know I'm eating like 7 to 8 meals a day.
Yeah.
And I was eating like 3 to 4, and I felt my stomach.
Obviously, you weren't working out either, so.
Yeah, so I was eating like a quarter of the meals.
Right.
And I wasn't working out. I was basically vegetating in bed. And combined with that, with just everything else under the sun, so I was like drinking loads of protein shakes to try and up my protein intake. So I think a lot of what I lost was water, but some of it definitely wasn't, just because. Although I do find myself fortunate, because a couple of folks I know, they got it so much worse than me. One guy who's still got it, my friend Sam, he still has it. He's getting temperature fluctuations of going up hot and cold. Another friend who will remain nameless, he had chronic diarrhea.
Lovely.
Yeah, basically he quite literally just could not stop going to the toilet. It was just constant. He literally could do nothing about it. Another friend of mine had respiratory issues with it. And another friend at the gym, she was telling me that it actually affected her office. I didn't get it from her, I got it from someone else. And it affected everyone in her office, and basically it swept through the office for like a plague. Everyone in the office, starting from like let's say the north end all the way to the south, it got this bug. So it's not a happy fun time.
No, so far I've managed to escape it, but I'm a bit wary because it's like, ooh.
Yeah, so pretty much I basically survived, the nuclear holocaust.
Yeah, knowing our luck, like, you'll get better and then I'll come down with it or something like that, and then that'll be it.
Pretty much. Anywho, you had more fun than I did.
Yes, over the weekend I was in Sheffield for a festival, an indoor festival. That was quite good.
There's got to be some reason to go to Sheffield, I suppose.
No, actually, I've never been to Sheffield before, but it was actually really nice.
Was it?
Yeah, I liked it. And on the Sunday morning, we had a couple of hours to kill before the festival actually started in the afternoon. We were sort of sitting in the hotel room, and one of our group had forgotten to bring like proper earplugs, because obviously at indoor festival you kind of need them, especially because it's very loud. So we like found a music shop that was open, walked down there, so we saw a bit of Sheffield, and I ended up buying a vinyl, and she didn't end up buying the earplugs because they were too expensive.
It's only hearing. It's not that important.
To be fair, like, she had some foam ones that they gave out at the venue, but they're not the same as the proper ones that you get for like musicians' earplugs. Those are the ones she was after. So I said, look, just soldier through with the foam.
Yeah, it's fine. You're just convincing her. Yeah, it's only your hearing. What's that ever done for you?
Hearing's still protected. It's just this muffling the music is the issue. That's why the musicians want it better, because they don't muffle the music, but they do stop you from getting tinnitus.
Yeah, that's not a happy fun time.
No.
So, for me, my weekend, or my let's say the last 11 days, it's consisted of playing Ghostbusters, the 2009 version, which is pretty damn good, by the way. You should totally check it out.
Yeah.
Watching Luke Cage on Netflix.
How is that? I find him really boring in Jessica Jones. Luke Cage is not a very interesting character.
I actually think he's so much more. I think actually,
it's like just a walking block of wood.
You know, I said this on Twitter. I think Luke Cage the show is better than Jessica Jones, but I think Jessica is a more interesting character. But I think the bad guy in Luke Cage is what makes Luke Cage the better show.
Right. Well, I have to give it a watch. I've been back like an hour from Sheffield.
As you know, I have a massive hatred for
David Tennant.
Well, it's not just him. I found Kilgrave as a character really boring. Like, in any show, anyone who can just be like, you know, you're doing whatever. Like, if it's someone like Professor Xavier, where they can control you mentally, that's okay. But just someone to be able to just control you just by talking, I find it's like a really boring power.
Well, it is mind control. It's just he speaks it verbally, obviously for the purposes of the fact that it's a TV show. I find the character extremely boring. I know. I thought Kilgrave was really interesting myself.
I really haven't been sold on it. I'm going through the show slowly, so it's weird. I like all the characters in Jessica Jones aside from Kilgrave, and with Luke Cage, I actually don't mind Luke. Now you've got some backstory behind him in the show. But, with that said, the bad guys in you know, he reminds me a little bit more of Daredevil. You know how in Daredevil, the Kingpin, you can somewhat empathise with him or sympathise with what he's doing?
Right.
It's a little bit like that for this. And I don't want to give too much away, because obviously spoilers.
Yeah.
Although, I still think Kingpin was, he loves his city.
Yes, he does. He loves the city.
Yeah, he does.
Maybe a bit too much.
Well, and look at the time when that guy embarrassed him.
He needs to work on his issues.
He's working on the issues. He's not.
He's not working on his issues.
He did. The guy was an issue and he worked on him.
Oh my god. So you've been playing Ghostbusters then? Is that good? I've never played it.
It's actually really good. It's basically written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis. So basically, the original cast all reprise their roles.
Cool.
And you basically play as a fifth Ghostbuster.
Right. And
you've even got the original Janine, Egon, everyone in it. And you even get little cameos of Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and it's absolutely amazing. I'm only this is a pure guess, I'm only about 2/3 of the way through. No, I'd say about a quarter of the way through. I was gonna say I'm about 2/3 of the way through the second act, so I'd say about a quarter of the way through the entire game.
Right.
But it's really worth checking out.
Okay.
And for the price I paid for it,
yeah.
I think I bought it from Humble Bundle.
Okay. So you would recommend?
10 out of 10 would recommend.
Obviously I haven't been playing anything over the weekend because I was away. But previous to that, I was playing a few bits and actually went back to Slain, which you might remember we talked about ages ago.
Yeah, I do.
Because the complaints I had were pretty much common complaints among most people who played the game. So the developer took the game off Steam and was like, right, okay, I'm going to work on it.
I actually respect that.
No, to be fair, that is exactly the right response. Like, right, okay, you're right, these are problems, I'm going to work on them. And then released it a while ago with Slain Back from Hell.
Is it better than nothing?
Way better than nothing. Because, like, now that it's back with Slain Back from Hell, it's way better. I would actually recommend it now. Like, he's pretty much listened to all the complaints, and the combat is still a bit simplistic, but maybe more moves are learned later in the game, because I'm only like an hour in, maybe. But he's listened to all the complaints. Like, the combat is much more fluid. It doesn't feel quite so slow, so sludgy. Feels more responsive. There's actual proper checkpoints now. It's just a way better game. So
how does that? So would you say that you'd do a review of it over for the?
Yeah, I mean, I did a video on the original Slain But I think if I can find the time, I will revisit and just say, look, it's been improved. So if you have the original game or you were put off by the problems with the original game, reconsider, because now it's much, much better.
Okay. So I'm just stroking Amy's cat in the background.
Yeah, he's decided to join us today.
Yeah, I love Clyde. Clyde's my friend.
I think he missed me when I was away.
Well, someone's got to.
Yeah. Anyway, we have quite a few topics to discuss. One thing I want to mention is I spoke about this with James last week, but obviously I played a bit of Starcraft 2 after the first time in forever, and I found this thing that puts an overlay over the game where it shows like the build order and the timings and stuff for it, and because that's my main issue, is I don't really know build orders and I'm slow and I get distracted.
Pretty much not good.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad at the game.
That's like me saying to you on Counter-Strike, well, my only issue is like my accuracy sucks and I don't know the levels.
No, that's not even slightly the same. That's not even slightly the same at all. I've got the basics down, I just need a bit of help. Please listen.
I was just laughing at the same time.
It's kind of hard to talk when you're laughing.
Okay.
Anyway, so I was trying to practice the build orders to get better, and I just destroyed this poor guy's build order. And
was it just a boy, poor little fella?
Yeah, because it was based off a pro guy's build, and I before the video was uploaded, I tweeted and I added him, and I basically said I'm so sorry for what I did to your build. And he liked the tweet, and I said to James, he's not going to like what I did to his build once he sees the videos.
He's going to unlike.
It's going to be like, my build!
What you doing to it?
What you doing to my build? Oh, anyway, let's move on to news and stuff. So, first thing from a little while ago is Tekken 7. Now, obviously, Street Fighter 5 has crossplay.
Excuse me,
between...
I'm just dying still, don't worry about me.
Yeah. Crossplay between PS4 and PC, which is great. And...
well,
the fact that it's there is good.
Oh, did you hear about the Street Fighter 5 rootkit, by the way?
Yes, I did. I covered it as a video.
Do you know
and we discussed it at length last week.
Well, the reason I ask, because I was trying to give a bit of a segue, if you download Street Fighter 5, so let's say you've uninstalled it.
Yeah.
If you re-download it, buried in the install folder...
Well, they've gotten rid of it now.
No. The rootkit hasn't removed itself.
Well, no, I know. But the update that they put out with the rootkit has been rolled back, but if you downloaded the update, then you need to get rid of it, yeah. Yeah,
basically, they've put the tool in the Street Fighter 5 folder to do it.
Oh, right.
So you'll have to download Street Fighter 5, again, through Steam, go to the Steam folder where Street Fighter 5 is, and then there's the rootkit remover.
Or just go safe mode and go into the System32 folder and delete it yourself.
This is simpler. And apparently, I have heard, and I didn't do research on this because I've not bothered, but I did hear some people said that that's not the best way, that there are some people who have reported that the system is still infected. So, anyway, thought I'd let you know. So you could do some research if you want to.
Yeah, I know. I mean, me and James discussed this at length last week, and yeah, Capcom did a silly, basically. Anyway, basically what happened is Harada said that it doesn't seem very likely that there will be cross-play between PC and console for Tekken 7. And he said, basically what he said is, like, it's not his view, but the view of, like, the company as a whole, that they might think that they can't do PC with the console because of the cheating issue on PC. And I'm like, I mean, he's not wrong that cheating and hacks and all that are more of an issue on PC than they are on console. We can't really deny that, but it does seem a bit harsh just to not put it on at all. So it's like, yeah, because you're going to cheat. So
my view is,
obviously it's not Harada's view. He did say that. He said, look, this is not me. This is the perception of PC gamers from people up, that's just like the group as a whole. It's
why
like,
don't they just do the same thing as Street Fighter 5? Because with Street Fighter 5, you can have a filter where you can choose which platform you play against. Well,
maybe that's what they'll do. He didn't 100% say it won't happen. He just didn't seem very convinced it would, because he said, like, it's not me that thinks this, is just like there's a perception that.
Didn't he even say he was a PC gamer?
Yeah, he said, like, I'm a PC gamer, so this is not me saying, this is not my view, this is not what I think, but this is the perception of certain people that PC gamers are going to cheat, or there's cheaters within that group, or whatever. So, I don't know, they didn't 100% say that it wouldn't happen, but he was kind of saying that it's probably not going to happen.
The problem is, though, you say that, but there was just as much lag switching and disconnecting
I know,
on Street Fighter.
there are still ways to, do things you shouldn't be doing on console. So, I mean, I think it's a bit crappy, to be honest, because obviously if it means that if there's not much of a player base on PC, you can still play the game in multiplayer, which is obviously a big part of a game like Tekken 7. So, hopefully they do. He didn't 100% say they wouldn't, he just didn't seem convinced that it would happen. I can't remember his wording exactly, but he was just kind of preparing us for the fact that it probably won't
Preparing
happen.
our arenas.
Yes. So that's kind of shitty, because I was actually like, oh, Tekken 7's coming to PC, that's really cool, that's never happened before. Might actually check it out, because I haven't played Tekken in years. But I used to be really into it back in the day, so it's a shame.
Slide from the scudder?
Yeah, a little bit. Anyway, next thing is No Man's Sky's troubles are continuing.
Did you see that Sean Murray basically has disappeared off Twitter? Yeah,
Hello Games and that I'm just silent. Utterly silent since the game came out.
Yeah, it's like, why? What's wrong? Why so silent, dudes?
Yeah, probably because they've got a lawyer telling them not to say anything, if I had to guess.
Oh, this situation with No Man's Sky, I mean, just for a second, let's ignore the fact of all of the misinformation. I'm really hoping that this tells people not to get so damn excited about games.
Yeah, I mean, even Peter Molyneux has learned from this, but the issue is now they're being investigated by the Advertising Standards Authority, which is basically
it's not good.
It's a UK-based authority, and the thing is about the UK, we have actual pretty strict laws on false advertising, and basically what the main focus of their investigation seems to be the Steam page for No Man's Sky, because as far as I know, there's still the trailers from like E3 a few years ago. There's still the screenshots.
There was a while back.
There's still the screenshots, and it's really misrepresentative of the product because the game does not look like that. The trailer is not representative, and the screenshots aren't representative. So there is a pretty strong argument to be made that it's false advertising. And if they decide to incorporate any of the various promises that Sean Murray made, it's just worse. But even without that, even if you just focus on the Steam page, there's probably enough there that they're going to get in trouble, I think. And, I still believe they didn't do this maliciously.
I don't...
But it doesn't change the fact that they did it, and it doesn't change the fact that some people feel lied to.
Here's the thing. There's a difference between malicious and... Excuse me, again. I agree that they probably didn't start out as malicious. But if you say something that you know is wrong or you can't fulfill, he kept digging. So I understand that he's not a PR guy. I understand that he just wanted to please the fans. All of those arguments. But there's
promising things you can't deliver is not pleasing the fans.
Yeah, but I think he was like a deer in the headlights, and he never wanted to say no, we can't do that in an interview. But that to me is just being a little bitch.
No, just answer the question honestly. If you're making a single player experience, then say that. There's nothing wrong with a single player experience. Exactly. If that's what you want to make, that's fine. Or if you want to do a Dark Souls style, if you want to do full multiplayer, whatever, it's fine. Just say that so people know, okay, I cannot meet up with my friends, I cannot interact with other people, it's only the NPCs in the game. Disappointing, but at least they're aware of what they're getting into. And you don't have people buying it because they want to have, fly around with their friends and form, like, a coalition or whatever. Pardon me. And obviously that's not in the game, even slightly.
All I know is I'm really hoping that people learn from this. We as gamers, publishers, developers, everyone.
We won't. That's the thing, we won't. Like, the industry have been doing this stuff for years. I mean, this is probably one of the more egregious examples, but let's not forget that Aliens Colonial Marines is a thing that happened.
You know,
and while the two are not comparable in terms of the level of quality or anything like that, but Aliens Colonial Marines is the best example of a vertical slice demo that is a complete and utter fabrication in comparison to the actual game. So, you know, that happened, and then nothing's happened, nothing's changed since then.
My whole thing, though, is that Sony are, as I've said before, as much to blame.
Well, I don't know if they're as much to blame, but they are holding a share of the blame that they seem reluctant to admit.
My opinion is, look, if you're the difference is, and I would argue that Steam also should force them to change the trailers.
Well, no, as far as I understand, the ASA is working with Valve and getting loads of information from Valve to find out like when these things were posted, were they ever changed at any point or anything like that. So obviously they're getting all the information before they make a decision. But you know, while it's not going to be the end of the world, it will be a pretty clear message that this kind of stuff just isn't okay. And to us, it isn't. You know, if you're enjoying the game, or if you enjoyed the game and you're done with it and you've moved on or whatever.
Did you see how many bloody copies are in like used shops?
Yeah,
a couple of viewers actually sent us images of like I won't mention his name in case he doesn't want me to be public with it. But some chap, you should check our Facebook. He sent an image of all the copies at CEX, and there were like the shelves were literally lined with bloody copies of No Man's Sky.
Yeah, they're not gonna get rid of that, but
Careful. So I was just warning her because her cat is literally pushed up against her back.
Right. What was I saying? Wait, I forgot what I was saying.
Used copies, No Man's Sky.
I forgot what I was saying.
Sorry.
Yeah, let's move on because I can't remember what I was going to say, to be honest.
Paul is great?
No, that's not what I was going to say.
No, it's obvious, to be fair.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Concurrent players are also really down on Steam. So.
You're saying down with the sickness.
Mm.
Down like their share price.
So, hopefully we all learn from this, like, as publishers and developers and people and consumers of games, I hope that we do. I just doubt it because we've danced this dance before and it never seems to change anything. This is a very high profile kerfuffle, and all that's what I was saying as well. Like, if you're enjoying the game, great, fantastic, but
you're wrong, but you're okay
well,
too.
No, like, they're not wrong. They can enjoy what they want to enjoy. It doesn't have at it, whatever, but it doesn't change the fact that there's a long list of things promised or embellished on Reddit. And if you ever want to read how much content is missing from the game, go find that.
You know what's the funny thing?
Sure.
The time it takes you to write that post is probably about as long as they'd need in development to actually add the content.
It's scary, like the amount of stuff that's either missing or stripped down. It's bad.
It's ridiculous.
I think No Man's like the guys honestly wanted to make the game they promised, but if they didn't have the money or the time or the manpower,
I think it was a mixture of everything.
Yeah, like I don't know if Sony were pushing them too much. You've got to get it out this time, and obviously they put the game out as best as they could, and this is what we got. I don't know. Obviously, we'll never know exactly whose quote unquote fault it is.
No, I think in a couple of years' time it will leak. Like someone will talk.
I think Hello Games might say after a couple of years, like, look, this is what happened, and then we'll know like the intricate details. But until then, we can only kind of make rational guesses as to what happened. So, anyway, let's move on from bad news to slightly happier news.
Go on.
As since the Xbox One S came out, Xbox hardware sales have increased almost 1,000%.
In the UK only, right?
In the UK, yes. But it's still damn impressive. This is last month, I believe, September.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good, to be honest. And the PS4 Slim in comparison has...
It's getting ruffle stomped.
I mean, it's still selling. The Slim is selling. But in comparison to the S, it's getting absolutely rooted, to be honest with you. So it's interesting. I just wonder why... It is. I mean, obviously the S had a bit of a head start as well.
I think there are a couple of reasons.
But some people kind of theorise in the comments of the video that I did on it that it might just be the fact that there's the Blu-ray player issue.
I think Blu-ray.
There's no 4K Blu-ray player or any improvements to the Slim.
I think the Blu-ray, the performance, the fact that you've got Gears of War 4 as well.
Yeah.
Is a big one. Gears of War plus Forza plus a couple of other games.
Yeah.
The fact that a lot of people already own a PlayStation at this point. The fact that the PlayStation 4 Pro is coming out. And I'd argue, to be honest, buying a PS4 regular over a PS4 Pro, considering the price gap between them, is not really worth it.
Yeah, like, if you already own a PS4, why would you get a Slim and the Pro is coming out in like a month?
Exactly. So realistically, it makes so much more sense to get an Xbox One.
Yeah, so there are various factors to consider, but it's still a nice win for Microsoft, I must say.
Oh yeah, and I think as well Microsoft are being a lot more aggressive at the moment with their advertising.
Yeah. Well, I was saying to James last week that they're kind of getting their own back a little bit for what Sony did to them after E3 and stuff. It's like just them two kicking each other in the shins. It's quite funny.
I know. But the thing is, Sony, they're in a good position, but Microsoft could easily slap them.
Yeah, I mean, what's really going to be interesting is obviously the Pro is going to have a year head start versus the Scorpio, but I still want to see Pro versus Scorpio sales figures. What happens there? I think the Pro is going to sell because again it has a year head start, which is definitely going to help.
Did you see the news, by the way, that they've said that the price of the Scorpio is not going to be anything that you've not seen before with a console?
Right, so a console. They didn't say a Microsoft console. They said a console.
Yeah, the problem is with that you could argue
that doesn't mean anything because it could be PS3 price, which was like $600 when it came out.
It could, but I don't think
it will, but it could.
I reckon it's going to be
$450. So.
My opinion is it's going to be... I wouldn't be surprised if it's either going to be about that price or they're going to try and make it as cheap as possible, maybe make a slight loss, just to slap Sony.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be as cheap as the Pro because there's quite a bit more power under the hood of the Scorpio.
Yeah, but you're forgetting prices of stuff will drop by them.
Yeah, but I think $450 is probably a safe bet.
$450.
Yeah. But we'll see, obviously, but... Yeah, it's really good for Microsoft. You know, it's going to make Sony wake up a little bit because obviously they have been pretty much ruffle stomping Microsoft for the past couple of years in terms of hardware sales.
Which is really sad because it's not like Sony have done much.
No, obviously they've just had the games and they've obviously had a bit more power and stuff. And they just did the marketing right. They didn't, I think it's just they didn't mess up where Microsoft did mess up is the issue. Because as we've said many times now, if Phil Spencer had been in charge from the start, it'd probably be a very different situation. But no, we had the good ship Don Matrick in charge.
By good ship Don Matrick, you more mean the life. It's
well,
more like the heart of the sea ship, right?
I was just about to say, okay, Don Matrick's ship is like the ship in the heart of the sea.
After it gets crashed.
Yeah, after it gets absolutely wrecked by the giant whale.
Spoilers. So
it's what Moby Dick was based on.
Someone's still going to say spoilers.
There's a whale in it, guys. I know.
They're going to be like, there's a whale in Moby Dick. I know someone's thinking that. What the fuck's Moby Dick? I know it. That's the thing.
No one's thinking that.
I'm sure someone is.
No one is thinking that. No. Have some faith.
Huh? No, I won't. I
just came back from a Doom festival and you're more upbeat than I am.
I'm upbeat. I just don't believe that. I believe that there is someone who is thinking, what the hell is Moby Dick?
Rip English literature, if so.
Rip humanity. I don't know about anything else.
Right, so while I was away, a couple of things happened with Zen, I believe.
It did.
So would you like to inform me and the viewers as to what happened?
I shall give you the informations of a lifetime.
Awesome.
The informations that would only see you upon a quest that would be something along the lines of the Holy Grail. It will be so much of a revolution to humanity.
I think you're exaggerating slightly.
No.
So, share, come on.
Well, maybe slightly.
Just
a
little bit. Okay.
Just a tints.
Okay.
Just an itch.
Okay.
Just an iota. Just a jot.
Just tell us.
Okay. So basically, we've known now that there's multiple different motherboard types, of course, for Zen.
Right.
So the high-end board is going to be the X370.
Yeah.
So that offers an extra 4 PCIe lanes, which is going to be good, obviously, for multiple graphics card configurations.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, full Crossfire and SLI support.
Right.
But the big one is you've also got extreme overclocking functionality tweaking. So that means basically you're going to be able to tweak the multiplier, you're going to be able to tweak the FSB, memory timings a lot more. Essentially, it is the best. And then the next one down, which I believe is their A350. You've got essentially the same type of deal, but it doesn't have the multi-card configuration support.
Right.
It's got slightly reduced overclocking functionality, but it's still a nice card. Sorry, motherboard.
Yeah, I mean, this is stuff I discussed, I believe, and you wrote about an article about it.
Yeah.
Right. So, but something happened while I was away, I believe.
Yeah. So there's a couple of small little bits with Zen, which has happened since you've been away, and they are. But it's mostly regarding the server version of Zen, which
right.
So basically, we're seeing some benchmarks appear which tell us it's going to have 32 cores, which is unsurprising. Although you can actually have dual socket configurations, which means you've got 64 cores and 128 threads, which is just balmy.
Right.
Now, there's 512 megabytes of level 3 cache being detected. And I'm not sure about that because previous versions of the Zen modules, basically the CPU complexes, per 4 cores, you've got 8 megabytes of cache. So if you start doing all the multiplication of the different things, basically you should not have that amount of memory.
Right.
So it's one of two things happening. A, it's AMD have released a different version of Zen, which is possible. We don't know their full lineup yet because obviously they're not telling us.
Yeah.
And B, it's the benchmarking application is simply not reading it correctly. But the reason it's really interesting, at least in my mind, is that you've got an obvious major improvement per clock from the previous generations. So it's obvious that they're still tweaking the silicon.
Right.
Which is pretty cool. It means that theoretically this should be a very, very cool processor.
Nice. And there was some stuff about Kaby Lake, I think, as well.
Yeah, I'm actually putting out a video later on that. But
okay.
But one of them is that the motherboard itself, the i7 7700K, the 7600K, and all of the others, as you're aware, Kaby Lake is supposedly going to be working with the new motherboard, the Intel 200 series.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of rumours to say that it would not be backwardly compatible.
Right.
And our friends at MSI have said that that's not the case. And they're going to
so you can use it with Skylake motherboards?
Yeah, so you can use it with Series 100 if you do a BIOS update.
Okay, well that's nice.
Yeah, so basically, the reason I'm quite interested in that is that let's say you've got a 6500K or 6600K or whatever, and you say to yourself, hey, I want to upgrade, you can do that, and then you could jump to like a 7700K. So if you don't want to go through the whole hassle of taking out all your motherboard and all the components, making the jump to Zen, you could do that. But it obviously depends on the pricing and what Zen can put out.
Right.
And that's going to be the issue because they're both going to release supposedly in the first quarter.
Interesting.
I'm pretty interested.
Alright, and there's some more stuff about the Nintendo NX as Nintendo refuses to tell us what it is, I believe.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Now, I don't want to go into the whole thing about this because frankly I don't agree with the rumours. I think they're rubbish.
Okay.
But I did cover it because I basically said I didn't believe them.
Right, well what are the rumours? Tell me, I've missed this completely.
Right, so essentially the rumours tell us that it's going to be AMD producing the hardware, not Nvidia.
I thought we had had that already, that was AMD.
No, it was supposed to be Nvidia's Tegra. Remember?
Oh, okay, right, okay.
And the second is that the console can put out about 2.5 teraflops of computing power, which basically means it ruffle stomps the PS4.
Okay.
And on top of all of that, the console is going to be released with multiple different variants, which, from what I can see, there are differences in accessories it bundles with, but also the storage speed. And the cheapest is going to be, about the same price as current consoles, but it's going to go up to $450.
So it's storage space, do you mean, rather than speed?
No, speed. So all of them come with 128 gigabytes.
Right.
But the speed of the storage. Now, I'm not quite sure how that would work. I'm just going to assume it means different types of memory inside the system.
Yeah, I didn't see them doing that. That's why I was wondering if you meant storage space, which would make sense.
No, and the other one is it's supposedly going to be upgradable at the end of next year. And that means that there's literally going to be an upgrade facility on the system, which is going to upgrade the performance. Now, the reason I don't think these are true is because so many of the rumours fly in the face of other rumours, like with Emily Rogers is released and Polygon and God knows whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some grains of truth.
Yeah, that's the thing with these rumours. A lot of the time when they are from a legitimate source, even if they're wrong, like about most of it, there'll still be some true things, and you can kind of see like where they got this information from and that sort of thing. So it is interesting, and making it upgradable would certainly be intriguing. I mean, they've obviously seen what Microsoft and Sony have been planning.
Well, you know,
and
the
maybe
benefit.
that's why they thought, let's kind of get ahead of this, and we'll
that's the benefit of cartridges anyway.
Build it into the thing.
Well, remember with cartridges, and obviously it doesn't help a jot with downloadable games, but with cartridges you can have internal processors, and that's what happened with like the Genesis. You know how you had.
I was going to say, weren't those things for like the Saturn and stuff where you could just plug in more RAM and stuff?
Yeah, well, that I'm talking about for the actual game.
Oh, right.
So, for example, the 16-bit era, you'd have like the Super FX chip, which would be for like a couple of Mario games used it. You had Mario Kart, and then of course Pilot Wings, and on the also on the Mega Drive / Genesis, you had Sega Virtua Racing. And basically they just use different variants of processors, and that would sometimes be handling things such as sprite rotation, or it would be handling polygons which the systems couldn't normally do, or what have you. And obviously it's very different from, say, the 32X or whatever, which would obviously be external processors and like the whole breakup box. But with something like the Saturn or the N64, obviously you had the RAM cards. There is actually, very slight aside, for quite a while there's a lot of evidence, and I found a post on it, that back in the day, Sega were considering an upgrade cart for the Saturn, but they changed their mind at pretty much the last minute, and it was actually in development. And some people say that some screenshots of Virtua Fighter 3 had existed for the Saturn, and they had started to code the game, but because obviously the Saturn was selling so poorly, they just opted out. But there is one incident I can think of which does tell me it's possible they could have abandoned Nvidia for AMD, and that is, excuse me, with Sega, back in the days of the Dreamcast, they had originally intentions of going with 3DFX.
Right.
Excuse me. So basically, what happened is they, at the last minute, decided to go with a completely different design.
Okay.
And that was because 3DFX decided to issue a press release and say that, yeah, our chips are going to be featured in the new Sega console, and they weren't very happy.
Hmm.
Another thing as well is they said that the reveal is going to be November at the latest, but realistically I don't see when else it could be at this point.
Well, there were other sources that said if we didn't see it at TGS, which obviously we didn't, it would be in October, and that does kind of make sense. I think November is too late because everyone's going to be focusing on all the games that are coming out that month, and obviously you've got the Pro and everything else, and I know PlayStation VR is obviously coming out this month, but still, you've got a lot coming out that month, and I think if they do the NX announcement then, it's kind of going to get buried under all of that.
Well, my argument is it's going to get buried anyway. I mean, March.
Well, no, I mean, end of October would be a good time for the announcement. So,
well, my concern is that I just don't understand how they're going to manage to pull it off. Well, we got interrupted by a phone call, but basically my concern is I don't understand how... My concern with Nintendo NX is it's going to get buried simply because of how many products are going to be released over the next 6 months.
well, no, I mean, I think the console itself will probably be fine because it's Nintendo and because the new Zelda's coming out on it at launch. You know, they're seeming to be signalling that they've learned from their various mistakes with the Wii U, and one of them was just having a really shoddy launch lineup. And
Apparently
just
it's 21 games, by the way. I think it was 21 or 23 games they're saying they're going to be with
yeah,
launch.
so, and obviously for a long time there was just no good games on the Wii U, and obviously that's different now, but that wasn't the case for quite some time.
Yeah, no, it's 3 or 4.
Yeah, like, now the Wii U is actually worth buying, but it's obviously on its way out, so there's no point. So I think the console itself will be fine. I just think November is too late to announce it, given that, you know, there will be hype surrounding it, but it's just going to get buried around the hype and all the other things that are coming out that month.
I just find it really weird that they've not announced anything. And I tell you the weird thing from that is a lot of analysts are speculating that the system is actually falling behind, or Nintendo are not confident.
Well,
and they're making last minute changes.
Falling behind what?
It's either falling behind development schedule. Here are the theories. A, it's falling behind development schedule, or B, they had planned it to be X, whatever X it was, so whatever idea X was, but the last minute or further along the development they changed their mind, and that's why they're not ready to reveal it, because they're not confident in what they're originally going to reveal.
Possibly. I mean, that would kind of make sense, because it does seem that they are leaving it rather late, because even if they announce it in October, that's what, 5 months?
Ish. Well, it depends on when it's going to be sold.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it could be the end of March, we don't know, but it's, you know, let's assume March is accurate, which, to be fair, that's been consistent in all the things that we've heard.
Well, they've even said it.
Yeah, but we don't know. Yeah, that could change. I say a lot of things that change, so, but let's assume March is right. It's still not very long for a console. I mean, that's why I was so surprised that Sony announced the Pro so late in September, and then it's like, yeah, it's up next month or in 2 months by, and I was like, what? Wait, what? Like, that was really weird, because normally you want... I know for the Pro it's a bit different, because obviously it's not a new console per se, it's an update to a console, but still, you kind of want a bit more time for people to save up, to get hype or whatever. So it's just weird, the whole NX situation, and they've never commented on any of the rumours surrounding the console.
No, do you know what as well? There was another person, I can't remember who was having an interview, but basically a website was having an interview.
Right.
I think it might have been Australian Gamer. It's one of them anyway. And they're having an interview with Nintendo.
Uh-huh.
And they were told, don't even think about bringing up the NX or we're going to end the interview early.
Damn.
So...
They're determined to keep any real details under
No,
wraps.
they say there's literally nothing they can ask about the system. It's ridiculous.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's like, I understand that you don't want to reveal the console, but to tell the person that, if they said something along the lines of, we can discuss basics of NX, like what we're hoping to bring to the table.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, even if you can't talk specs or exact details, just be like, oh, can you confirm or deny that it's a console handheld hybrid, yes or no?
Or even the basic stuff like, yes, we're still aiming for this launch, or here's where we've learned from the Wii U. Anything.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Reggie has made some various comments about how they've learned from the Wii U, but he's not really spoken about how they've learned from it, just that they've learned from it. I'm like, okay, but what did you learn, and how are you trying to learn from those things via your actions? Right?
Exactly.
So the whole thing is just weird, and as I said in my last NX video, I just want to know what it is, so that all these silly rumours about the NX can just stop now. That would be good.
Oh no. At this point, I think it's going to be like this mythical creature that just doesn't exist, and I'm just getting like absolutely like, you know.
Yeah, my cat is just, you know, putting his paws on him because why not?
I have this problem with women a lot.
Yeah, it's
a hard life.
Just a real pissy magnet.
Yeah.
Anyway, unless there's anything else to discuss this week, I think that's everything.
Oh, actually, there is.
Okay, feel free.
I will.
Tell us then.
So basically, we're going to start having a few guests on.
All right.
The podcasty thing.
Yeah.
So we can have James again, which I think will be kind of cool.
Yeah, no, he seemed to really enjoy it, and it was good having a different sort of perspective on things.
If he didn't enjoy it, he's still going to be back.
Well, no, he did. So you know, we don't have to drag him kicking and screaming or anything, which is nice.
Yeah, it's like, come here.
So,
and I've got a couple of other friends as well who want to jump on, so that'll be cool.
Cool, and hopefully we can get some slightly more high profile guests, but I think that's probably far in the future for now.
And I hopefully as well, neither of us will get ravaged in the next couple of weeks. That'd be quite nice.
That'd be good. I mean, you know, I'm not counting my eggs just yet. I'm still kind of half waiting to just kind of be struck down when I least expect it. Like the virus is just waiting for me to get a false sense of security.
It's
like,
like,
I would have thought that the prime time for that to happen would be when I was at a festival trying to have a good time, but perhaps the festival was the prime time for it to kind of like, you know,
gestate. And
because like, you know, my immune system's probably a bit low because I'm travelling a lot and obviously tired by not sleeping all that amazing, and standing basically for 2 days straight and all this other stuff.
So now you're going to get like festival.
So like, you know, I'm going to wake up in a couple of days and just be like basically on my deathbed. So we'll see.
You better pray. Another one of my friends just texted me and said he thinks he's getting out. I'm like, seriously?
Oh, God.
Oh.
It's the apocalypse, guys. It's beginning.
The LOL's apocalypse.
Although one of the people at the festival we've said that, you know, if the zombie apocalypse ever happens, we need to go to find him because he lives right near an army base and he knows how to drive a tank. So
that seems like the worst place to go.
Why?
I just get the feeling that that's where everyone's going to go, and that's where.
Well, no, because not everyone knows how to drive a tank.
Yeah, I'm sure that the army soldiers who are going to be very calm and certainly not like, you know, upset.
Well, we need to wait for long enough. Well, it's going to take us a while to get up there anyway. So, you know, wait for long enough so that all the army soldiers are probably, you know, elsewhere or killed by the zombie virus.
Yes, I'm sure.
And then we'll go there and we'll, you know, we'll just acquire a tank. It'd be great.
This plan sounds terrible.
Sounds amazing. What do you mean? We get to ride around in a tank. What's wrong with
that?
Yeah,
if it comes true, but that's like me saying to you, well, if I jump from this mountain without any parachute, then
that is not even slightly comparable.
It is. It's like that's about as chance. Like, oh, I get to fly without a parachute. It's about as likely to happen.
Why?
Because first of all, they're not going to leave this. You know, let's say worst case. Let's say the worst case scenario, right? That the country gets ravaged to shit.
Okay.
Right. And the army is just like, yeah, we're not going out there. I don't think they're going to be particularly happy.
The army's not just going to be, oh yeah, we're not going out there, good luck, lol, bye.
If they don't feel it's a win scenario, I don't think they might. And I don't think they just...
Yeah, fuck the human race, we're just going to bunker in.
Well, they're human, and I'd rather... Put it this way, it makes more sense to have strategic value of survival. You can't really survive if everyone else is dead.
Well, you know, if we can, there is an option of a tank, is all I'm saying.
So this is why America is the one with guns, because at least you can bloody well do something. Like, in the UK, you are boned if you basically get...
Well, let's be thankful that zombies don't actually exist.
Well, I'm just talking just generally.
Anyway, with that said, our zombie apocalypse plans aside...
Come on, America, if there's a zombie apocalypse, we need freedom.
Oh, we've already got freedom, thank you.
Tell that to Theresa May.
Don't. Just don't. Let's not get political, please. Thank you. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Bye.